As we continue our lesson one, we just got done with axis of symmetry. We've seen several key features of quadratics. We've looked at standard form. We've looked at the shape as a parabola. We've looked at the axis of symmetry. Now we're going to take a look at the vertex. Okay, so the vertex is a point, and it's the highest or lowest y value of the graph. It's also called a maximum or minimum value. All right, so I'll talk about all those things in a little bit. So in like this picture here, the basketball is at its highest point. It's where it changes direction and starts going back down towards the hoop. Okay, so the vertex is that point. Okay, so the vertex in that power line would be up here where the wires change direction. Okay, in the parabola, at first it's going up. If I go left or right, it's going up. At the top here, it changes direction and starts going back down. The top in this situation is called the vertex. Okay, so we're going to label the vertex on the graph. It is right there. In this situation, that would be called a maximum value because the parabola does not go above that point. Okay, in this case, it has the coordinates 2, 1. It does have a maximum, and it has a maximum y value of 1. Now, the axis of symmetry, this is a relationship that you really need to understand, goes right through the middle of the vertex. The vertex is on the axis of symmetry every single time. Okay. What do we know about the a value of this equation? Let's see if you remember from the first video. It's opening down, so the a value has to be negative. We don't know what it is, but it's got to be negative. All right, so how do we find the vertex without a graph? Well, here's an equation of it's going to be a parabola because it has an x squared, right? It's quadratic. So we're going to find, if we understand that the axis of symmetry goes through the vertex, to find the vertex, we're going to use the axis of symmetry, which we did in the first video. So what's A? What's B? B is -6. So -6 over 2 times 1. So that's 6 over 2, which is 3. So that's the x coordinate of my vertex every single time. Now, how do I get the y coordinate? Well, if I know x is 3, can't I put 3 in for x there? So let's do that. Let's put 3 in for x, anywhere I have an x. So 3 squared is 9. 6 times 3 is 18, so 9 minus 18 is -9. -9 plus 9 is 0. So y equals 0. That's my vertex. The coordinate's 3, 0. All right, and we'll jump straight into this problem. Anytime you have an equation, you're going to do that same thing. You're going to find the axis of symmetry, and whatever you get for x, you're going to plug that in for x to get the y value, and your x, y value combined makes your vertex. Here's a word problem. Which width gives the maximum, keyword maximum, area of a garden with a formula here, where x represents the width and y is the total area? Okay, so if I have a width of 1, what will my area be? So if I put 1 in, 80 times 1 is 80. 1 squared is 1. 2 times 1 is 2. So 80 minus 2 would be 78. The area would be 78. Is that the biggest? I don't know. Let's find out. Okay, we're looking for a maximum. What do? I want to find the vertex. Now you're like, what? This isn't even a parabola. You're right. But if I graph this equation, it would be a parabola. Okay, because it's got the biggest exponent is a 2. It's going to be a parabola. So let's find the axis of symmetry. So the b value is actually 80. The x term is first here. This isn't written completely in standard form. The b term is the one that's in front of the x. So that would be 80 here. And there's a negative, so -80. And the a value is -2. So -80 divided by -4 is 20. What does that mean? 20 is the number that's going to give me, it's the width that's going to give me the biggest area. If I put 20 in for x, I will find out what that area will be. So let's do that. We're going to put 20 in for x in both of them, and we're going to solve that. 80 times 20 is 1,600. 20 squared is 400. 400 times 2 is 800. So 1,600 minus 800 is 800. So the area of that garden would be 800 square feet with a width of 20. Okay. And that's the graph that you would get from that. Okay. And you can see at the top there, the x value is 20. If you look at the scale there, the y value is 800. That's the vertex. Any width more than that, any width less than that, you're going to start losing area. Okay. And that concludes second part of lesson one, where we looked at the vertex.